we've conducted studies in communities across the country using a research tool called SQL, in which we survey educators directly about their perspectives of their working conditions, their compensation, and their well-being in a series that we call Teacher Voices. And over the course of the pandemic, we've been publishing findings from surveys of the ECE workforce in California. Most recently, a paper on well-being, in which we document high rates of economic insecurity and patterns of racial inequities that have been experienced. And then in addition to our data, our reports always include policy recommendations to help advocates and policymakers identify how they can take actions. In New York City, for example, many teachers in community-based public pre-K programs are organized in a union. And together, they really press the city to treat them on a par with school-based public pre-K teachers when it was discovered that salary and benefit gaps were really amounting to thousands of dollars of difference in how people were being paid and how they were treated and the conditions that were available to them. And the workforce in the city working with younger children have also made really important strides in gaining better pay and working conditions. In California, the Child Care Providers Union has been making some meaningful gains in securing increased child care subsidy payments, securing paid sick leave for home-based providers. And then there's Washington, D.C., which is our most recent example. Infant and toddler educators in DC were really left behind when the district raised qualifications for them with no associated increases in pay. And simultaneously, they were implementing a universal preschool program, placing those jobs in public pre-K on a par with elementary school teachers. And so the provider community, through a network of associations and community organizations, really solidified around a demand for better pay and resources for these infant and toddler teachers and providers. And while it should not have to be so hard fought, I think what we recently witnessed in DC with them really being able to raise local revenue in order to fund compensation for this workforce is really something to look towards. You know, this year, all of those educators are eligible to receive a payment of at least $10,000. It doesn't matter if they're in a program that's part of public funding, whether their program is in QRIS or not. If you work, you get paid, you get access to this funding. And so this model was determined by a committee that included educators. They were very central to this. And going forward, that committee is going to be making decisions about how to use those funds in the future towards direct wages rather than lump sum payments, or trying to figure out kind of the best way. But these are ongoing funds now that people will have access to.